So Kawhi Leonard returns back to Toronto. What we thought was probably one of, if not the best or most legendary 1 year streak of all time. Well, we thought it was just a 1 year span in Toronto, won a championship in Toronto, and won Finals MVP and everything, and then he just left, and went to LA. We thought it was just going to be a 1 year span, and it was just one of those stories to kind of be like, remember when Kawhi Leonard went to Toronto? But apparently not, because if you did not know, once again, yesterday Kawhi Leonard returned to the Toronto Raptors via trade. Just to give you guys the trade details, let you know what the Clippers got in return. The Raptors sent Brandon Ingram and Grady. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Where's the pause button when you need it? The Raptors are sending Brandon Ingram and Grady Dick. Pause. 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 2 second-round picks. 2 second-round picks. I'm sorry, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a pick swap to the Clippers to reacquire Kawhi Leonard. And just hold on, just one more time. Pause. But anyway, this trade was, at least a little surprising to me, because once again, I thought Kawhi Leonard's time in Toronto was done. Like I always thought like his time in Toronto would be like a remember story. Like I didn't think he would ever return to Toronto. Like I didn't ever feel like he'd ever go back. I felt like his time was like he had his little 1 year streak, and then that's it. Like I thought that was it. It's over. But apparently I'm pretty sure this is more of like a team thing. I don't know if he signed off on going to Toronto, but I'm pretty sure it was more like a team thing. But it could have been a thing where Kawhi was, because sometimes players do that. If you don't know that or haven't heard of that before, sometimes players do have that. Even if you don't have like a trade clause or anything like that, sometimes, especially with a player like Kawhi Leonard, like you've been on the Clippers for a while, sometimes the team will go to you and ask like, "Hey, we got this other team, and they ready to do the deal. Like they want to trade for you. Now we'll do the deal, but do you want to go there?" And if you say no, then sometimes the team will try to work out a deal for you to go somewhere else. But I don't know if it was that type of situation, but it is very nostalgic, if you will, for him to return to Toronto. And I also feel like the Clippers got a good return back for him. Like I said, make sure you got it right again. 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, and a pick swap. Where's the pick swap for? It doesn't say what the pick swap is for. I believe it's, I don't know, in one of these upcoming drafts. I don't know which one the pick swap is for, but just getting a pick swap along with the 2 first-round picks and 2 second-round picks is a bonus anyway. Plus, you're getting Grady, you're getting Brandon Ingram, who I happen to like the games of. I like the games of both of them. Like I've always, obviously I'm a Lakers fan, so I like Brandon Ingram. Just not even because of the Laker thing, but I just like his game as far as being like a chill. He reminds me of like Brandon Ingram gives me D'Angelo Russell vibes, and I don't mean that in like a negative way or I'm not trying to compare them. I'm just saying like this, like the way that Brandon Ingram plays, like that chill kind of, no pun intended, that chill kind of laid back but still hooping kind of play style. D'Angelo Russell plays like that as well. Like he plays that kind of like chill, laid back, but he's still hooping on you. Like that kind of laid back style, Brandon Ingram plays kind of like that. So they kind of give me similar playing style vibes. It's just Brandon Ingram obviously can do more things. He can do more things. He's taller. He has, in my opinion, like more Um, he probably has a higher ceiling, like to where he could be as a player and what he can do as a player, like on the court, like doing different things and like his where his potential could potentially allow him to be. I feel like that maybe slightly gives him the edge over like a D'Angelo Russell, but he's a very talented player. But I'm just saying, as far as their playing styles and the way they play and approach the game, they kind of give me the same vibes there. But as far as getting Grady in the deal, Grady's in my opinion, a good pickup. You need a nice. He's kind of like that guy, and I feel like in this trade that would be like the stand out. Like he'll be one of the standout Clippers from now on. Like he'll be one of the standout guys on the Clippers from now on. Kind of like he was with the Raptors, but he'll be more like a standout person on the Clippers and actually being a guy that they can rely on. But it was a great move. So shout out to the Clippers on that. Give them a round of applause. Shout out to the Clippers for getting good compensation back. Now you guys know how I feel about the fair compensation thing. With a player like Kawhi Leonard, and I've voiced my opinion on these things before, with a player like Kawhi Leonard or a player like that who's a star, who's been an all-star, who's won finals MVP, has won championships, all defensive teams, all NBA teams, all that stuff that Kawhi Leonard has done over his career and has been blessed to do. When you trade a player like that, you're not going to get equal compensation. But what you can get is, I guess you would say, fair compensation. And what I mean by that is, no, you're not going to get a Kawhi Leonard in return. You're not going to get a Kawhi Leonard and you're trading a Kawhi Leonard. That's not going to happen. But what you are, or what you can get if you work the deal out properly, what you can get is nice role players, which the Clippers did acquire. They got Brandon Ingram and Grady. And you can get picks, and you can also, if you want to, you can turn the players that you got back into more picks if you would like to. But they got picks, they got second round picks, first round picks. So now they're in a position, and a pick swap as well. So now they're in a position to where they can rebuild their team the way the Clippers want to. Not saying anything against Kawhi Leonard, but when you have like a Kawhi Leonard in the locker room, it makes it difficult to rebuild how you want your team to be, because you got to think Kawhi Leonard at this stage of his career, like I said, he's pretty much done everything you would want to do in the NBA career. So one of the things that veterans like Kawhi Leonard seem to be more hesitant on, and understandably so, is they are very what's the word I'm looking for? They're very unapologetic, put it like that, about wanting to actually sit through a rebuild, because a rebuild is telling a player like Kawhi Leonard that we're just pretty much going to have you on the team, and this team doesn't have many expectations because we're going to have a lot of young players, and no offense to young players, because young players can flourish faster than people think, but no offense to those younger players, but we're not expecting us to be very successful. So a player like Kawhi Leonard, who's done everything in his career, who still can be on a contending team, who can still help a team reach the playoffs, you're telling him that, you're probably going to have to put a hold on that and put a hold on your ambition pretty much of getting to the playoffs and competing. You're probably going to have to put a hold on that ambition for right now because we're not focused on that. That's what you're telling a player like Kawhi Leonard, which is why a lot of veterans, once again, like Kawhi, don't usually sit through rebuilds. They don't usually sit through rebuilds. And it's not anything about them being like selfish or anything like that. It's just players feel like, and rightfully so, if you're going to just have me here and we're not going to have any expectation of winning anything or competing or trying to make the playoffs or play in or anything like that, and we're just going to rebuild and start over, then allow me to go somewhere where I can compete and contend and try to get to the playoffs and try to get to the play-in, because I'm at the stage of my career where I don't need to be just wasting years just because let's face it, Kawhi Leonard isn't young, right? And not only is he not young, but he also, I mean, let's call a spade a spade. Knock on wood. But he also is very, and it's not his fault. It's not his fault at all. It's just a part of our sport. Knock on wood. But he's very injury prone. Let's be honest with you. He's very injury prone, and he's getting older. And you know, when you get older, you naturally start to have more injuries. So Kawhi, probably having that in mind, probably had no problem with them sending him to the Raptors, because at least, and while the Raptors aren't in the best position like to compete for anything, they probably are more committed to actually trying to build something, especially now that they have a centerpiece to go around. They probably are more like, or that veteran centerpiece, I mean. Now that they have that veteran like centerpiece to build around, they probably are more committed to trying to win something now than the Clippers were. So that's probably why, even if they did come to Kawhi and ask him, do you have a problem going to Toronto? I'm pretty sure he probably had no problem with it. He probably was cool with it. So shout out to the Clippers, shout out to the Raptors for getting this deal done. And on both, like I said, on both sides, I think they got pretty equal, fair compensation. Like I said, you're never gonna get just straight up equal compensation for a player like Kawhi. But for the Clippers to get to get players like Brandon Ingram, like Grady, 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, pick swap, and Toronto Raptors get their veteran centerpiece, like I said, in Kawhi Leonard, who has, unlimited veteran experience and who's a absolute beast on the defensive end. The Claw absolutely does his thing on the defensive end, even at this stage of his career. Plus, he's coming off a career high season of his career. If you don't know, Kawhi Leonard for this last season averaged 27.9 points, 6.4 rebounds, 3.6 assists per game, and 1.9 blocks per game and 32.1 minutes per game as well. Shot 50% from the field, 38% from the three-point line, 89% from the free throw line, and had a 62.9 true shooting percentage. So he had a career year this year as well. So it's not like they're just trading for Kawhi and they haven't, and with no reason. Like, no, Kawhi showed everyone this year that he still can go. He still can be that guy. He still can lead a team. He still can score. He still can do all these things, having a career year like he did. So I feel like both teams had good reasoning for doing the deal. Like I said, for the Clippers, they just need, and I felt like this for a while, just being honest with you. Just even with me being a Lakers fan, kind of looking at the Clippers from the outside looking in, I kind of felt like they needed this restart or recalibration of energy. I feel like they needed that. With the whole, they got Paul George and Kawhi there, and then they kept trying to bring in stars, and so they stopped trying to do that. They brought James Harden in, and then they kind of started going more towards role players. And then James Harden left, and obviously Paul George left before that, and Kawhi was still there. So I kind of felt like anyway they should kind of look forward to just like starting over in a way. So I feel like this is a great chance for them to do that and build a team up how they want it. And for Kawhi, this is not only nostalgic for him, but also this is a chance to use his production that he showed everyone that he still can put up. He still has elite production. He showed everybody that he can still do these things on a night-to-night basis. He still can have career years and score how he wants to, even at this stage of his career. So now those things aren't going to waste, because now he's on a team where I feel like they'll be more committed to actually using Kawhi's production along with everyone in Toronto and trying to build something to where Kawhi's production will be appreciated as far as the playoffs, as far as trying to actually build towards something like the playoffs or maybe even the play-in. But the playoffs, obviously that's not ideal. They would want to just make the playoffs if they got Kawhi. But, building towards the playoffs and making some noise in the playoffs, I feel like that was a good move. And plus, they can capitalize off of Kawhi's experience. They can capitalize off his wisdom, because Kawhi, as far as the wisdom point, you guys know I'm huge on like experience and wisdom, like from players and just learning things from players. As far as that, Kawhi can teach a team like the Raptors so freaking much because not only has Kawhi done all these things you want to do, defensive player of the year, all NBA team, all defensive team, 2-time finals MVP, knows what it's like to get the big contracts, knows what it's like in free agency, knows what it's like on different styles of teams, knows what it's like to be on a super team or a power team, or knows what it's like to negotiate, knows what it's like to deal with the business of the NBA. All of those things he can teach. He can give so many players wisdom and like experience off of those things. But also a huge advantage was he learned from Pop, and he had a chance to learn from the veterans like Tim Duncan and Ginobili and Parker. He had a chance to learn from like Tony Parker, Manu Ginobili, Tim Duncan, Pop. He had a chance to learn from these players. Tracy McGrady. He had a chance to learn his wisdom from those players, so now he can pass it on to the younger generation that the Raptors have and pass on that wisdom. And he was coached by Pop. And I don't know if people know like how important and significant that is, but I hold that in very high regard because Pop is one of those coaches that, while yes, and DeMar DeRozan, who also was coached by Pop, and I'm talking about Greg Popovich if you don't know, he was the coach of the Spurs. If you don't know, DeMar DeRozan was a Spur at one time. He was coached by Pop, and he said Popovich is one of those coaches that, yes, basketball is important. Yes. But forget basketball for a second. How are you doing as a player, as a person? How can I help you become a better person and player at the same time? How can I help that? So he had the chance he's one of those coaches that really thrives in like allowing the player to kind of explore his values and explore finding himself personally. So now Kawhi can pass that on to the generation of the Raptors players, or if he sees them. And I know Kawhi gets this like rap that he's kind of like a quiet dude, but I'm sure in the locker room, if anyone has troubles or if anyone is struggling with things, I'm sure Kawhi will have a conversation with him and talk to him about how to handle these things, how to deal with those things, how to keep going, how to deal with the pressure. I'm pretty sure he'll have a conversation with his teammate about those things, especially because he has so much experience, like I said, learning from Pop and being on different situations and experiencing different things through his time in the NBA. I'm pretty sure he has so much wisdom that he's willing to pass on to them. I just asked I don't want to say younger players, but all of the players to allow Kawhi to use his wisdom and don't take it as pause. Don't like approach Kawhi using his wisdom or using the fact that he's done all these things as like, oh, you think you're better than us. No, he knows what it takes to win. Okay, like that's my advice to everyone on the Raptors team. He knows what it takes to win. So if Kawhi Leonard tells you to do something or hey, let's try this or let's focus on this. We need to work on this more. The Raptors are a younger team, so I would just advise them to not take Kawhi's constructive criticism or approach to the game, because Kawhi is an absolute workhorse as far as like just like he's just straight like about the grind and just like to his like it's about the grind and everything else can go. That's kind of how Kawhi is. So don't take his approach, pause, as far as, oh, he's like the mean veteran. No, his approach is he knows what it takes to win, and he's trying to get you guys to that point to where you are to the point of being a winning team, a winning caliber team, having that winning mentality. He's been on all these teams to where he knows what it takes to get it done. He knows what it takes to get to the playoffs, get to the play-in, get to the finals, win the finals. He knows what it takes to get to that point. So just deal with his wisdom and deal with the things that he will pass on to everyone in Toronto deal with it from the aspect of not, oh, he's a mean veteran and he's bossing us around and telling us what to do. Just take it, pause, from the effect of he's the veteran and he wants us to play at our best, be the best team that we possibly can be, and he knows what it takes for us to get there. So he's giving us the advice, giving us the steps, giving us the leadership that it will take for us to get there. And at the end of the day, at the end of the season, it'll pay off at the end because we'll be a better team as a whole, and as individuals, we'll be better players. So, just deal with his wisdom as far as like really taking it serious. Um, and yeah, I just think it was a great move overall for the Clippers and the Raptors. I can't wait to see how it plays out. And so far, this whole NBA offseason in general has been off to a good start. So I'm interested to see what other dominoes fall. But it was an interesting move to see Kawhi go back to Toronto after the first time, especially because there was rumors the first time that he didn't necessarily want to be in Toronto. But now the fact that he's back there, and now the fact that he's back there at the team he didn't want to be, quote unquote. So that's kind of interesting to see how that'll work out. It's kind of like the John Wall situation. Even though I don't think Kawhi minds being on the Raptors, but it's kind of funny, kind of like the John Wall situation with Houston, when he said, "Oh, Houston was terrible. It was a terrible experience. It was awful," and then he ended back up on Houston at the end of the year. So I hope it don't end up like that, but we should see how it works out, though. I think it'll fare well for both the Clippers and the Toronto Raptors, so we shall see, though. But Kawhi Leonard is back in in Toronto. Whew, it's going to be interesting, man. Can't wait to see how it plays out.